All right, we are live. Great to be back. Hi everyone, welcome back to the weekly live show. Been off for a few weeks, but back now weekly on Wednesday around lunchtime on the East Coast, talking all things personal analytics. So anything self-improvement related, how to use your data to supercharge your self-improvement, any of those type of things. I'm here to answer any questions. Do a sound check here, see how we're sounding. Okay, great. Waiting to see if anybody wants to jump in here. I give it a minute, and also I can read some Instagram questions. I've got a lot of questions from you guys on Instagram. Some things that you fired at me. I'm usually pretty responsive on Instagram. Follow me there at Gabe Coded. So one question I have here is, when self-improving, how do you decide what to start with? So that's a great question. It can seem overwhelming when you want to improve, and you just have so many different areas of your life that you think you could improve. So really what it comes down to is being specific about your goal, right? This is something a lot of people talk about in a lot more detail, and they do a better job than me, but basically you want to know exactly what your goal is. You want to know exactly how you're going to get to where you're going, and you want to have the steps for that really laid out really cleanly. So once you have your big goal in mind, then you can start to prioritize. You can think, okay, what is the most important thing I can do that will move me towards my big goal? And you do that thing. And so then as you start to go and as you start to do things, you'll realize, okay, this is actually not what's the most important thing to get me towards my goal. This other thing is. So then you do that other thing right away. And it's just a matter of trying things, starting to see what moves you closer to your goal. If you have no idea what your goal is, that's something that you have to decide. You have to sit down and think, okay, what's the most important thing for me to fix right now? Is it my health? Is it making more money? Is it, my relationships? You have to decide what is going to be the most important thing, and you need to focus like a laser on that. That's the only way to prioritize, is to think about your goals and move towards them as quickly as you can. So scroll down here. I had another really interesting one I wanted to go over. Best tools for tracking my data. So Google Sheets, Excel is your friend. Building spreadsheets that you can then build charts off of is the easiest, most affordable thing that anyone can do. Almost anyone has access to a computer that can use Google Sheets. There are more advanced things you can do using Python, building your own databases, building your own data warehouses. If you're using, like, I wear a smart tracker, I have an Oura Ring, so you can have data, you can access your data through things like that, like wearables, Apple Watches, that sort of thing. But really, people get too hung up on the details of, okay, I want to build my own database, and what visualization software should I use? You don't need to worry about any of that. What you need to do is start tracking your calories, start tracking how many hours a night you're sleeping, start tracking how many hours you're working, start tracking how many job applications you're sending in, how many hours a week you're working on your business, what are those tasks that you're doing, and start to build a monthly repository of things. That will do more for you than what type of data warehouse do I need and how do I build it. It doesn't need to be complicated. Start with a Google Sheet and just start making a bunch of tabs for health. Here's what I'm tracking for health. Here's what I'm tracking for my money. Here's what I'm tracking for my relationship status. Whatever you want to be improving. The important thing is to start doing something that's easy and sustainable. Something that you can just in 10 minutes a night check off and log your data, log your steps, log your calories, and not think about it again, and make it very, very easy and repeatable. That's the most important thing. You don't need to get bogged into the details. Some issues here. go. Still getting used to running a live show. I'm much better on static videos, pre-recorded videos, so still getting used to going live. But I love it. It gives me a chance to talk in a little bit more of a free-flowing way. It's just the technology piece is always difficult for a new streamer to learn. So thank you guys for your patience. Let's see if there's anybody in the chat. I don't see anyone in the chat. I do have one more question that I can go over on Instagram. This was a really interesting sort of philosophical question. Why self-improve at all? Kind of a negative comment, just throw away, I'm assuming, but I think there's actually a really good lesson in there, which is the process of improvement makes you realize what's meaningful and makes you realize what you want to spend your life on. So people, even if you don't feel like improving and you don't feel like getting better, the reason that you feel that way is because you're not improving. And it sounds really circular and like backwards logic, but I've lived this, and so I know it makes sense. When you're depressed and you're not motivated and you're not doing the things that you need to be doing, you feel like there's no point in doing anything. Once you take a step, even if you don't feel like taking a step, even if you don't think there's any point, you realize, wow, I was able to accomplish this step, or I failed at this step, but think about other things that I could accomplish or other things I could fail at. And that opens up the door to, you know what, maybe launching this business was a bad idea, was a small step and failed miserably, but like, maybe I could improve my health. I could be walking a little bit more, I could be moving a little, and it sparks your brain to think about other things that you might actually be able to improve and other things that you might actually want to improve. And so the concept of I'm just giving up or I'm just never going to improve, that's a really dangerous thing to think. It's a really dangerous mindset to have, because if you're not interested in getting better, what it means is you're not seeing opportunities. You know, people say opportunities multiply as their sees, right? That's a saying that people, and that's absolutely true. But opportunities also are not visible to you until you're taking opportunities. That's what people don't talk about. They don't say, they don't warn you that if you feel like I've hit a good career income now and I'm just going to coast for the next few years, that may be fine, and you may not be growing, and that everyone understands. If I'm not improving, I'm not growing, I'm pretty stagnant. What they don't tell you is you may have something else being dropped into your lap that might be a great opportunity for you to improve, and you don't see it because your brain is not even thinking about improving. You're thinking, I'm in coast mode. When you're in coast mode, you don't see, that's a new machine at the gym. I should try that. That might be a weak area for me. Or that's a new person I might want to get to know. I might want to get to know her or him. I should go talk to that person. They might be someone interesting, someone that I could date, someone I could be a friend with. You're not even seeing those people or those opportunities because your mind is so focused on coast. It's really, really a dangerous thing. So why self-improve at all? So you can see other things that you might want to improve. Self-improvement is not I have to improve, this has to get better by X, or it's a waste of my time. That's not the way self-improvement works. You'll realize other things that you want to improve by the process of going through improving something, anything about yourself. And that's why it has to be an ongoing process, just so you don't shut off that part of your brain. Quick check the chat. Seeing some comments in the chat, but I don't see any questions, so I think I'm going to cut it there. Like I said, this is a weekly show to talk about self-improvement and using data for self-improvement. We'll get more into the technicals as we go along, really just testing the setup, testing different times for the show. I think it's going to be around noon on Wednesdays, just for this live show. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.